Okay, just running some research vids through while I'm doing some errands around the house and shit like that. Shooting the breeze. I got my wide angle lens on. I finally found it. It was in the back seat. Um, yeah, shouting out to a few people, talking to Patrick about some shit, talking to everybody in general about other things, talking to Denny from Crystal Blue Persuasion about other shit. And also at the same time, going to start addressing Harold Kotz. Harold Kotz is someone that I'm feeling out. I take him to be a lying motherfucker, and I want to call him out. And let's see what he ends up doing. Let's see what he ends up being about. And so as we go along over these next 10 or 15 parts, I'll include some of them to Harold Kotz. One of those things is going to be about the mineral streets, the electromagnetic mineral streets. And the electromagnetic mineral streets is what Harold calls chemtrails, heavy metal aerosols. And those are PSYOP, that's PSYOP terminology, and I'm no longer going to be using it, only for a few days more to let people in on what the hell I'm talking about when I call them electromagnetic mineral streets. So once I get behind the desk and I have time behind the desk, I'll get into that as well. Maybe I'll try to put together one video of each thing that I've got going on my mind real strong. And if I can do that later tonight, I'll do that. I got a lot of shit going on over the next few days, but I'll manage to keep up with the series and keep going with it. That guy that just beeped at me, I'll just, since I'm talking about nothing anyway, got nothing to talk about. Very nice guy. Very nice guy. He's here dealing with something with his kids. And I watched him and his family go through a lot of the shit with the heroin addiction. A lot of people. Every town it's like this. I used to have. I always used to start these. I still do it. What I'm doing now is kind of the same thing. They're kind of propagandists. But they're going in directions that I thought would have been beneficial anyway. Kratom. The kratom scare that we had. California was going to try to outlaw kratom, and kratom is a wonderful fucking plant, and they were trying to make it illegal in some states and stuff like that. But anyways, I watched him. His wife got addicted first to heroin for maybe a year or two. But before her addiction, she was a great mom. I think they got 5 kids all together, all different age groups, young, all under 7 at the time that I first met them. Now some of them have gotten older because I've known them for a few years now. It's probably 10 years total. But I got to know him better and better. Anyways, some years back, I got to know his wife and him and stuff like that. And he owned a body shop in the local area, auto body, and never really talked to him. Mostly talked to the wife at first, the first couple of years, because she'd always be in the park with the kids and everything. That's why I'm saying she was a good mom. She was always, got the kids well dressed and fed, and you could tell she loved her kids and everything. And then she got addicted to the heroin, supposedly from a back injury that led to being on some medications. And then when they took her off the meds, she was addicted, and then she had to hit the streets and shit like that. So she disappeared from the picture. So I didn't see her for like a year or more. And he started showing up with the kids all the time, and that's when I got to know him a little bit, and then got to know his story, and know what the hell was going on, why the wife was missing all the time. So he was trying to hold on to his family. Strong guy. So he held on to his business as long as he could. I think that lasted about, I think he did it on his own for like a year or two, and pulling her out of fucking crack houses and, heroin dens and shit like that all the time, and doing what he could to get her back straight, and putting her into clinics and trying to clean her up at home, and then she'd disappear again. And you'd hear the poor bastard going through all kinds of shit because she was doing some really dirty shit to get her heroin, because of course she didn't have any money, so she was just doing nasty shit to get the heroin and stuff like that. And it's a sad story to watch. And it was sad, but he's got it all back now. Is the end of the story is a good story. But anyways, she finally, in order to save his wife, he had to do it just with him and her. He wasn't able to do it with the kids. So as I watched him go through it, I was like, man, poor guy, watched him do it on his own for a year or more. And then I noticed that his kids were being dropped off by other people. So he managed to get all of his kids into, some of them doubled up on some foster homes, foster care, which ended up being, coincidentally, other people that also went to this school. Their kids went to this school as well. Again, not mentioning anybody's names or anything like that, but it was just interesting to watch it all go down. And he was able to pull his wife out of that shit, man. He was able to get her out. He actually fell into it a little bit himself as he was trying to get her out of it. You could tell, was fucked up. I don't know if it was the drugs or alcohol or what, but he was obviously fucked up for 6 months to a year himself. And then all of a sudden I started seeing them together as a couple for another year. That was another year that went by, for a whole year. And it was funny watching my own emotions, because one day I'm happy for them, and the next month or two goes by, and then I see them all fucked up, and I'm like, oh, what a shame, So throughout all these ups and downs that they went through, I was offering them the kratom. I said, for free. I never charge anybody for any of the shit that I do. And I said, I'm growing these kratom plants, and I started up a little thing, and I'm trying to get anybody with heavy addictions, no matter what it is, alcohol addiction, heroin addiction, and I'm trying to find the proper strain that would suit each individual. And then I will order the seeds, grow the plant for you, and then you can do what you want from there. I'll give you the buds and the plants and whatever. And just to get you started, to prove to you that it works. And it does work. Kratom is a really good fucking way to go on curing addictions, any addiction, all addictions. Just depends on the strain, and you got to go through some research on it. It's going to come back to the EMNC, by the way, the kratom. Same way that I was showing you about the pot breaking down in the box, from the carbons in the pot breaking down in the pot box. Same way I'm showing you the carbons breaking down in the cigarettes and everything. Same shit's going to be going down with the kratom. Watch. I guarantee you. By the time I'm done with all this shit in the next, who knows how many years to figure the rest of this out, it's going to all come back. Anyways, so I was upset and pissed about him at certain times, and And then finally I started seeing them as a couple, and I'm like, boy, that's disappointing, because they were running around town, big smiles on their face, always happy, in love. Oh, he must love the lady so much. He must love his wife. And the way, for all the shit that she did and the stupid shit she did and everything, for him to overlook it, I'm not that forgiving of a person myself. I would never be able to do it. But to see them be so in love like little kids again, I guess I was a little jealous, I was envious, and then I was also mad because I knew that the kids were all still in foster homes, and I was thinking to myself, you know, why don't they have their kids back if things are going well now? But they knew how long they needed to recover fully, and once they were fully recovered, boom, start showing back up at school, dropping the kids off. I start seeing her in the park again with the kids. Her complexion all came back. Her hair color came back. She looked vibrant and young again. Oh, it's so nice to see, man. And I just seen him now getting in the car, and he looks good, and she looks good, and they're all smiling, and they're doing shit with the kids again, and it's a big happy family again. It's wonderful. And these people they're not wealthy people. They're very poor, but they still have happiness. They have more fucking happiness than a lot of the fucking wealthy rich people that are in my town. And they're poor people, but they have their happiness. They're living the zombie fucking life, of course, still like everybody else, but But anyways, it's a nice story. It's a nice story to see someone go down that path and then come back. And she probably, if she was with someone like myself, never would have happened that way. I would have fucking, I would have shit on her and told her go fuck herself the first time I caught her fucking her heroin dealer, I would have been like, you fucking scum, and I would have walked out on her and took the kids or whatever and did whatever. But he didn't do it that way, he did it a nice way. He was able to get his family back together and everything. Live and learn, what do I know? I don't have all the answers. Obviously I can learn. I have a lot to learn myself about some of these things. But he's the only one. I gotta say that too. That's the only family I've seen come back out of it. Because the reason why I started that program, the kratom growing program, it was more than just kratom. It was trying to remember the name of it. It was my own personal cause. It was called Where to Planet, Planet, playing on the word planet, and I was kind of fucking with people because at the time I was down all the rabbit holes of researching the idea that maybe we were not living on a spinning wet pear rocket ball. So in my town I live in is named Ware, so it was W-A-R-E, Ware to Planet, P-L-A-N-E-T. And what I was doing was I was growing plants in my grow rooms and giving them away to the public, whoever wanted them. But it was kind of ridiculous because what would happen was I got it started. The first year I had like 20-something people. Following year I maybe had it up to 100 people. And I would offer them the plants. And then, so you're talking about thousands of plants that I would raise to small, manageable plants that the average Joe would have no problem putting in their backyard and growing, right? I took orders. What do you like growing? What grows easiest, what grows best, all that kind of shit. And then I would give them out. Usually I'd bring them to the schoolyard for people at the school. I would bring them downtown to the local vendors and leave them with them. Any local vendors that were in the area, I would also bring to them guys. Everybody, all the local yokels. And everybody got to know me doing that. And that was one of the plants that I would grow for the heroin addiction problem that we were having, not just in my town, but every town I lived. I was talking to the camera, so let me finish my story as I'm driving. I'm should get your seatbelt on. Yeah, so anyways, I started up, it's called Where to Plant It, and I put a shelf outside my yard. By the third year, I put a big shelf on the yard and everything like that, and with a big sign out there, Where to Plant It, and anybody could come, and everybody got to know that if you wanted free plants, you didn't have to go to Walmart and everything. And I was growing hybrids and organics and you know, you name it, to give everybody different options of what they wanted to grow. The hybrids would grow anywhere, compared to the organics, you know. Organics took some talent to grow, more so. And so anyways, but it got ridiculous because now by the time I reached the end of my third season, it became pretty apparent like what would happen is this. I'd say, okay, these people want plants and whatever. I'd have to deliver them first of all, right? So I would go deliver them all. I would call around and get everybody's orders in and stuff like that, and then I would go deliver them. So once you deliver them to someone's home, now you have a personal connection with what you're doing here, right? So then I would go over the week or two, I'm driving around town, probably doing something similar to what I'm doing right now, and I would notice that the plants were still out on the front lawns on a lot of these houses. And so, you know, you don't want to be nosy, you don't want people to get upset that you're driving by their house and like watching their shit or something, right? So I ignore it. Then another week or two go by, and then I notice that they're dying. They're not even watering them. They're still sitting there in the pots. The roots are now, by that time, outgrowing the pots, and the plants are then dying. So I said, okay, I call them. Start calling people. And they say, I just didn't have the time, you know, busy, work. Okay, well, if you'd like, I'll come over and I'll plant them for you. Oh, well, okay, that'd be great, but I really didn't have time to turn the soil or get any mulch. Okay, fine. So then I ended up going over with my rototiller, which was also a part of the service. I did offer to do that to people for free to rototill their gardens and areas, because a lot of people never had gardens before, so you'd have to get them started, you know. So I started doing that. I started throwing that into the mix. So now I'm growing the plant from the seed, bringing them into pots, delivering the fucking pots with the plants in them, and then now here I am planting the plants and rototilling their areas, right? That's all fine if they would have fucking done anything that needed to be done. Now, another 2-3 weeks goes by, and then I would head over, drive around town again, doing my thing, want to check on everybody's plants, figuring they're all going to be, you know, by this time, you know, 3-foot tall tomato plants. I'm expecting to see. Nope. Why? They never went and got tomato sticks, so they let the tomato plants just fall to the ground. Tomatoes are, you know, bruised on the ground, nothing properly done. Cucumbers fucking not growing properly, nothing's being done right, and other shit that's supposed to be tied up and out of the way is overgrowing other shit, all this kind of shit, right? So I'm witnessing it all. So I'm saying, you know, all right, this is fucking ridiculous, you know, no one's even doing that. So then it gets even worse. I'll finish after I let my daughter in the house. I'll talk.
Yeah, you did a really long speech there. You're like 300 years old, Dad. 300.
Yeah, sometime when I'm fucking around on the computer, I think I still got a lot of the flyers saved and shit like that. I mean, I handed out thousands of flyers, you know, in order to get it all going. And I mean, everybody. We used to drop them off at the police stations, because as much as I will rank out the system, I also have an understanding. I want my children to have an understanding that it's not their fault. It's not their fault that they're doctors, nurses, lawyers, police officers, chiefs of police, whatever. It's not their fault. They don't know how fucking their ignorance, you know? So I don't want my kids to hear me talking shit about people without confusing them more by going and being nice to them. Just like I'm doing with everybody else. They're all zombies, so why would I bother having a YouTube channel to show the zombies the system, right? I don't know, just hopeful in the back of my mind, I guess, in the back of my head. I'm just hoping that someday. Anyways, it just got worse and worse and worse. And then I started driving around town again. Another couple weeks would go by or whatever, and I'd go by. I'd say, okay, now all the plants are planted. Now everything's all falling down. They're not sticking, putting sticks in anything, all this kind of shit. Yeah, I'm not driving behind in front of you, buddy. You're fucking flying. Go ahead. And, anyways, then I go by another couple weeks later after I go back and put sticks in for them and everything. I would usually just go do it. I wouldn't even call them by that time. I would just run around with a bunch of stakes. I'd go home with some, pick up some 2x6s or something at the store and cut my own stakes, and just so I could economize what I was doing. Or sometimes I'd take donations if anybody had lumber laying around. I'd take them and cut them down to stake size and stuff like that. So now I get them all propped up, right? Get the plants all propped up for everybody, and now they can go ahead and do their thing. And nope, still not. Go by another 2-3 weeks later, never watered them. Never fucking took the time to even water the fucking plants. So they'd all be fucking dried out and dead, and there's no saving them. Once you kill them like that, forget it. When they fall to the ground and shit, a lot of times you can mend them up and fix them up and do a few repairs and get them back going again. But if you're not gonna water them or give them sun, then forget it. And that's what people were doing. So, big waste of time, maybe, but I learned a lot from it, that's for sure. So what I was starting to say earlier about the kratom is a wonderful plant. That was one of the plants that I was growing, figuring that if anybody came along who had heroin addiction, but they didn't. They all wanted to go to the clinics. They all wanted to go to these government-run clinics that just keep you addicted. You just keep the addiction. It was amazing to watch everybody go through this. He was one of the only ones, that dude I was just talking about earlier, he was one of the only ones that even considered it, and it was because he's got a lot of family members that are also addicted to these drugs. So he acted like he had some interest, especially for his sister and some of his other family members. And I was like, yeah, I can definitely help you out, man. I can help you. We just got to find out what strain is best for them as individually. You can't just give out one kratom plant and think that it's going to solve everybody's problems, because everybody's different chemical balance, different heavy metal makeup. Yeah, we used to go and drop the vegetables off and whatever I was growing in my own garden. We would go and drop them off all over town. to everybody and stuff like that, to try to encourage everyone to growing their own and stuff like that. At the same time, like I said, it would show my kids that, I may rank on everybody and rank them out for being zombies and shit like that, but I still have hopes that the zombie nation will one day awaken. So, let's try and be as nice as we possibly can about it. And don't have to be an asshole like Daddy, And there's nice ways of doing it as well. So that was one of my ways of doing that and showing my kids that it was just that. So, you drop a couple batches off at the firehouse, drop a couple batches off at the town hall, drop a couple batches off at the state police barracks, the local police, all those guys. Then we run around and do all of our store victims, like I'm just driving in circles, lady. If I believed in circles, I'm driving in squares. I mean, in diamonds. Yeah, and then we hit up the stores. So then we hit up like all the places that I would normally go on any given day. All the places when I'm running these research vids, all the places that you see me going into. So Napa and all the parts stores and all that kind of shit. And everywhere, pretty much everywhere. The local hairdressers, the fucking pet supply place, even the restaurants, because dance class and that kind of shit. You get to know everybody, and we used to drop some off to everyone. And then I'd leave a flyer with a bag of vegetables. Some years were better than others. Some years people would donate baskets and stuff like that. Then I did a lot of fucking shit like that, man. I'm really funny like that. And then, especially for somebody with no fucking money, to always find the money somehow, pull the money out of my ass somewhere, somehow. Just grab a couple fucking side jobs, do the body work on someone's car, barter for stuff and shit like that, Like, I did some favors for someone that, family member, but I did him a few favors at his house, and he had a lot of wicker baskets, and he wanted to repay me some way. So I said, okay, I don't want to take your money, so, what are you doing with all those baskets? You want those baskets? He's been saving them for fucking 10 years. I don't know why. He don't even know why. And then I said, yeah, I'll take them, because he wants to give me something. I didn't even know what I was going to do with all those wicker baskets when I took them. I had no idea. They sat around for quite a while, too, actually. And then when I started up the Where to Planet thing, I had all those baskets that I just wanted to get rid of, really. So we would, I'd have all my homemade pickles. I would make like 4 or 5 different flavors of pickles, and then I not just only pickles, but also other shit. Like I'd make pickled carrots, pickled pickles, pickled onions, pickled eggs, because I had the chickens going at the time. So we had, we were getting 3 to 4 dozen eggs per week out of our chickens, and it was really unnecessary. We didn't need that many eggs anyway, so share it, and all that kind of shit. And then when I was trying to eat cleaner, that's when I started raising the rabbits. And I was raising rabbits because I was planning on still eating meat at the time. And eventually I went vegetarian again. I went vegetarian many times in my life. Even now, I don't consider myself vegetarian, but I eat, 99% of everything I eat is vegetarian, but not for the same reason. Not for the same reasons that I used to do that. One time I did it, became vegetarian because due to the cruelty of animals. Another time, I did it because I wanted to eat cleaner meat. I didn't want the dirty meat from the store. Another time, it was, there's always different reasons. And the point I'm at now, that what I've learned about the trees and the vegetation, and the fact that we've all gone so far bio, it's all changed now. Everything's all changed now. So, you know, just in the last couple of years, it's been drastic changes for me. So just getting my mind around it all has taken a little bit of time.